Hey, today we are continuing on with the human design series. We're talking about the types before we start diving deep further into other aspects of human design. And today we're going to talk about manifesting generators, which this one, as an environmental projector, is maybe slightly jealous of the manifesting generators, and we're going to get into why they are so amazing right here. And manifesting generators make up anywhere between 30 to 35% of the population at this sort of current moment space that we're in. And they tend to be quite dynamic and also energetic. I see manifesting generators as mostly generators, but with a little bit of a sprinkle of the manifestor type on there as well. So their aura, or as another viewer likes to use, energy, it can be quite sensitive and receptive. It's also open and enveloping, a lot like a generator as well. So again, it's the discernment that they're having to engage in as to who are they giving their energy to in a space. Are they giving their energy to someone in which it's going to be very beneficial? And then also, if it gets to the point where that energy is just being extracted from them, not necessarily in a beneficial way, then again, you can remove yourself from people, places, and things. Sounds simple, not always the easiest to exit out of a conversation sometimes. Totally get it. So, another way to also see manifesting generators is that they are like an energetic reservoir, and they also have quite an adaptive approach to life. It's, they're quite efficient. They can also be very innovative, very creative. They can also be very great leaders. It's another thing that I love about the manifesting generators. And the strategy for them is to wait for a response, again, which is like a generator. However, they also have an ability to inform before acting, and it is recommended that they do so. They do inform those around them before they act, especially generators and projectors in their environment. And because they are manifesting generator and they have a little bit of what I call the sprinkling of the manifestor, they can also initiate. Not quite like a manifestor. It normally still requires something like an invitation or something for them to respond to. So an example could be, I know you've been doing yoga training, yoga teacher training. You've been, maybe every now and then you hold a little like group class with your friends or whatever, and then someone approaches you and says, you know what, you're so good at like teaching yoga to a class. You could be really good at being a teacher. You should be a teacher. Something along those lines. And that is like an invitation or something that they get to respond to and say, oh, okay. And then they can go out and initiate that. So again, they can initiate, but it's always best to have something that they would have needed to respond to or to be invited to first. Whereas with a manifestor, it's not required. As long as it's within their authority, it's not required. So, a great way for manifesting generators to engage as to whether they're like living in their design or they're kind of living from the not self is whether they're feeling satisfaction or if they're feeling frustration. Also, another element to it is also anger and peace. So when you're feeling obviously frustrated and angry, then maybe you're not in your design in that moment. If you're feeling peace and or satisfied, then you're probably likely also in your yum, as I call it. Those that have a sacral energy center that's defined are always going to be either generators or manifesting generators. None of the other types have that. So the manifestors, projectors, and reflectors, they don't have a sacral center that's defined, and because of that, they don't tend to have a very consistent flow of energy. Whereas the generators and manifesting generators, you guys do, as long as it's what I would call you're doing it in your yum. You are engaging with life in your yum. And again, with a manifesting generator, it can be, their authority could be sacral or it could be emotional. And we're going to go more into that in some future videos after we've gone through the different types of human design archetypes that there are. And so if you've got emotional authority and manifesting generator, there's a bit of an emotional wave that you have to go through before you then are more engaging with the straight yes no of your yum. Again, we'll talk about that more later. But with these yums, it's really listening to the body's sounds. There's a that might be a maybe. If it's a maybe, it's a no. If it's a that could be a yes for you. If it's a that could be a no. So it's really going into the body and listening, especially from that sort of sacral area. What is it telling me? And it should come pretty quickly. But sometimes it's going to take a little bit of playing around, experimenting before you can really hear those guttural sounds, as I may call them. And again, a lot of us are deconditioned from these sort of ways of engaging with our body. For those that are generators and manifesting generators, and if they were brought up in environments where sometimes they would make sounds instead of using words when they were engaging with the family or those around them, but the family was around, or maybe it might have been in a classroom, they may have experienced sometimes responses from others of like, use your words or stop making those sounds. And that can kind of decondition you a little bit out of actually engaging with the body and what are the sounds that it's making. So yeah, if you have, especially if you've got children that are generators and manifesting generators, it's really good if you can encourage them to engage with these sounds. And yes, we may love them to use their words, but you can actually become quite attuned to as well as the sound that they've just made. Is that a yes? Is it a maybe? Is it a no? So you can help them and guide them through their own decision-making process of the everyday things that they are coming in response with. So another great thing about the manifesting generators is that they can often jump a few steps or jump quite a lot of steps. They can be very fast and efficient in the processes to the point where they may jump over steps. They just have to be careful that they don't jump too far, because if they jump over some really necessary steps in their project or their process of what it is they're engaging with, they may have to then go back round and kind of do it again, circle it back round. And one thing that I have noticed with the manifesting generators that I have in my life at the moment, and I have quite a few of them, and I really do call you guys like the powerhouses, and this, as I said before, a little bit like, I wish I was a powerhouse, but it's okay. That's the other thing about human design, is that you can move through this experiment, and when what they would say is you start to really decondition yourself and you're living in human design, you can then actually move into another space with human design where you're embodying whole aspects that are not within the projector or not within the manifestor, or so we can talk about that another day. So they are just like powerhouses, manifesting generators, and they can really change their feeling on something quite quickly. They could be like fully so in love with a particular thing that they are engaging with, and then just out of the blue one day it's like complete lost interest, don't want to do that anymore, change direction, something else. And so yes, I'm a bit cautious with like how much time do I invest, or like I'm careful with my attention investments when I'm working with like manifesting generators and they are building something. That's something always good to remember, is that they could change their mind at any moment, and then you're either left carrying the project or you have to walk away from the project. As a projector, I don't wish to carry the projects, especially the projects the manifesting generator is engaging in, because it's too much for my energy center to do so at this moment. So yeah, and encourage that. Encourage them to live in their yum. They may have been doing a particular practice for 10 years, and then one day it's just like it's not resonating with them. So encourage them to do something different if it's no longer in their yum. As someone who only has the top 2 triangles defined, and everything else, the throat and everything else below is not defined, if I am around people that are like generators, manifesting generators, and they are not in their yum, you guys are not yummy to be around. Like, I want you to live in your design, please, because it also means that when I'm engaging with you, like, everything is just so much yummier. But you know, if you're not, it doesn't mean I'm going to run away. Like, I've got a certain level of capacity. I just may find that energy doesn't flow as well, and I may not have as much energy to give to the person or the project. So another practical tip that I'd like to give to manifesting generators is that it's really good for you guys to go to bed about 30 minutes before you get really tired, and get yourself into a place of sort of relaxation. Maybe you want to read a book. You want to sort of, like, you're verging on tiredness, right? But you're not at the point of like, okay, I really need to go to sleep. I really just like gotta close my eyes and see you all tomorrow. But you're getting to that place, and you just sort of want to burn out the last little bits of energy you've got. So, you know, obviously reading books could be something else. Maybe you do meditation or whatever it is. It's your life, it's your design. You do you, and just sort of burn out the last little bit of that energy. You know, in comparison to a generator, it's like they need to go to bed when they're absolutely spent. Otherwise, they're going to stay awake. And for you guys, it's close to that, but still 30 minutes of just sort of that winding down time. And again, as we always say in human design, it is best to sleep in your own aura, your own energy field. I know that goes against certain other theologies and beliefs that we have, but if you can try and slot in, you know, at least a couple of nights a week where maybe you get to sleep in your own energy, highly recommend it. It's very beneficial for any human design type. Keeps you coming back to where you are in your journey, and also helps kind of clear out other things that you could be carrying that are not necessarily for you to carry. So yes, the next one we're going to talk about is manifestors. Yes, manifestors, for me as a projector, are very interesting to work with, because my job is to guide, and manifestors don't want guidance. So we're going to talk about that some more in the next vlog about human design, and I'll see you again soon.